thing when people don't leave their cities. So, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Greg. I got a very special guest with me today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, what's up? Thanks, Greg. I'm Ali McGuire. I'm going to look at that camera, I guess. I am a creative thought leader, platinum mix engineer, and pretty much just me.
I love that. So, I came across you and then we reconnected at SOLA, which was so cool. We got to hang out with high school students and educate them on like how we do, what we do. Run us back. So here's high school you. Like, what were you into? What were you like?
Oh my gosh, in high school, I don't know. I didn't know who I was, or I did know who I was. Man, I don't know, but high school, Ali, just like I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was just kind of going through the motions, kind of as you do when you're a kid. I didn't know I was even gonna get into music until I was 19 years old. So,
How'd that happen for you?
well, so I went to community college to be a journalist. That's kind of what I ended up settling on. I wanted to just be a sports writer for the Philadelphia Phillies and watch Phillies games.
Go Eagles.
Yeah, go birds,
Go
go
birds.
birds. And yeah, but I kept failing all of my classes, and which was really annoying because I tried really hard. But so the thing about journalism is that it's, pretty big on grammar and spelling, right? It's like pretty much you have to be really good at it. And in like the newspaper, paragraphs are actually one sentence. But I didn't know until I was like in my 30s that I was dyslexic. So I kept failing everything. Still can't spell for shit. Thank God for Grammarly. And yeah, so one day I just decided that I was gonna drop out after I got this paper back that I thought I did really well on, and I failed it again. So I went straight to the administrative office and I dropped out without telling anybody that I was gonna do it. None of my friends, my family, nobody knew. And I went out to my car and I was like, oh, I gotta have some kind of plan. So I just sat in my car and I thought about, what did you ever want to do? And, I loved Biggie Smalls. So Biggie is like my musical inspiration for like life. And actually, the first tattoo I ever got says, "Stay far from timid, only make moves when your heart's in it, and live the phrase, sky's the limit." So I thought about that. And when I was like 15, I asked my parents for an MPC. I wanted to make beats, but they were just like, no, you quit everything. But, I quit. I was in like baton. I didn't want to do baton. I quit everything I didn't want to do. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to the library and look up music production. So I went to the library and I looked it up, and the next thing I knew, somehow I was going to school for audio engineering.
Wow. And it turned into a career for you. Like, it's how you paid your bills, how you sustained yourself. Like, what was that transition like for you? Going from like, because you never stopped being a student of music, but like when you went from like your first paid gig, like what was that like for you as an artist?
Yeah, so I was living in South Philly and I had run out of all of my money, and I ended up getting a job at a Jimmy John's sub shop, if you know Jimmy
Yeah,
John's.
yeah.
Okay. And I went in for the first day and was just like, no, fuck this. So I never showed back up again. I completely ghosted Jimmy John's. I'm sorry. I kept the shirts. Um, and yeah, I back then it was like 2009, and so I used Craigslist a lot, which is like how I kind of networked because I didn't know anyone who did music professionally or really at all. And fortunately, like a week later, I read this ad that said, we're opening the upstairs venue at our space, and basically we'll take anyone who will accept $60 a night. So I was like, sweet, it's
Go.
me. I'll take $60 a night to be a live sound engineer. But I didn't know shit about live sound really. I had only done it like 2 times and they didn't go well. But those guys didn't know that.
Right.
So it was only like a 10-minute walk from my house. I went there and I told them, hey guys, I'm already an audio engineer. I want to do this. Please don't, you know, interview anybody else. I want all the gigs. I don't like, they were like, oh, well, we want to have like a couple people. I said, no, I will take every single gig. And like, I live a 10-minute walk. So if there's a blizzard and you guys decide to stay open and have bands, I will get here. Like, just, you can count on me. And yeah, and they gave me the gig. And that was, I had, some people pay me for some studio time and a few things here and there, but that was my first real music gig.
And shout out to them and like the courage it took you, right? To like, let me go create my lane as opposed to waiting for somebody to let me jump into theirs. And then the venue, like, they don't even know how magical that opportunity was for you. So here you are, live music in the trenches, bands showing up, live acts, and here you are making sure they all sound good. That led to like you working with some pretty big artists, right?
For sure. And I'll mention that in a second, but that gig, like, literally people, like, where I'm at with everything that I'm doing right now, all has literal ties back to the legendary Dobbs.
Wow.
All of it, even out to here.
Can we host
to
a
right
show
now.
there? Are they still open?
They're not. They're not open
All
anymore.
right.
But it would be sick. But yeah, so like, yeah, my whole life, and I'm sure down the line there'll still be more ties that happen from that place. So definitely, yeah, shout out to them. And yeah, so it was really crazy, right? Like I said, I didn't really know how to do live sound, but in 4 months, I was working all over the city and at different clubs. It was crazy. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but yeah, I'll show up. And yeah, that led to me getting a call from a woman named Barb, who's still a really great friend of me today, but we had never met. She just heard about me, and she was like the only other sound woman in Philadelphia. So she was like, I have to know you, and do you want to like come and cover for me? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So then years later, I was out on tour with another artist, but I was doing like everything but engineering. I was tour managing, I was DJing, I was selling merch, like.
So you touched a lot of different aspects of the music business.
Oh, a lot of different aspects. I've done as much as I possibly could. I created contracts. I paid people their publishing. Like,
And I think that's really the energy, right? Where you're like learning, because there's so many different aspects to music, and there's so many different aspects to like the business of music and how money's made in music, right? And it sounds like you've been able to tap into the different aspects of music throughout your career.
yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you're getting into anything, you've got to know at least a little bit, about the business side or the creative side or what's, going on eventually. Like, how are you ever going to lead a team of people doing all of these things if you have no knowledge of, some of the aspects? At least, that's kind of how I feel about it. And I was just curious because, I mean, my gosh, the ways you get paid in music they're not exactly straightforward. Like, this is what happens. Like, it's like, here's like 57 places you have to collect your money from, and this is how it works. So yeah.
Mentorship is important, I imagine, like in the music industry, right? Like having somebody that can give you good advice and that you can give good advice to. Did you come across like impactful mentors throughout your music career?
Yeah, I've had many impactful mentors. I think, mentors are incredibly important for everything you do in life. You need to be able to ask questions to people who have been there before, for sure. And so, like I was saying, so Barb called me while I was on that tour, and she asked me if I wanted to do sound on tour for a rapper, and I basically would have done anything to get out of the situation that I was in. So I was like, hell yeah, and I'd be doing sound. And she called me back, an hour later, and this is in 2016. She said the tour is actually for Fetty Wap.
That's so cool.
And I was like, oh, crazy. And yeah, I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do it. Yeah, for real. And then, yeah, a few weeks later, they called me and said, so you're going to do the sound for all the openers, everything. And there's this guy who's going to open for Fetty Wap. His name's Post Malone. And
so cool.
I had no idea who Post Malone was at the time. He only had White Iverson, and so got to do, sound for him. And watched like where he was and how he was growing, and he actually left that tour to go open for Justin Bieber, and that was pretty much it for him.
So you got a front row seat at like an awesome moment in music. I mean, White Iverson, like him releasing that on his own without his label, like, and like he really, like you, created his own lane. And now I think he's out there singing country, which is dope.
Yeah, he's no, you know, the coolest thing about Post is that he's a really talented guy, can play like so many instruments and stuff like that, and he's really just himself, and he just, you know, does what he wants to do, and I think that's an incredible thing about artists. You should be able to just try different things, what you're into. You know, you change through life. But when I was on that tour, I met a mentor of mine, and you know, she was the one who actually encouraged me to move to LA. You know, I never wanted to move here, ever. Like, and I'd been here a few times. My brother had lived out here for a while, but like, you know, I mean, I'm an East Coast girl. I love Philadelphia. But she was like, look, like you just did one of the biggest tours of the year right here. You know, WAP was huge in 2016. And she's like, but you want to make records. Like, if you want to make records, you got to go to LA. So I was like, all right, what else am I doing?
Did you know anybody before pulling up? Did you have like people out here, or were you just like, I'm packing it up, I'm headed to LA? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, that was crazy. So fortunately, my brother lived out here.
Okay.
So I got to move in with him, but I didn't like have job leads or anything like that. I just knew that I had a really good live sound resume at that time. And also there's an organization called Sound Girls that I worked with, and you know, this is LA, so a lot of them are in this area, right? And yeah, so I came out here just with that knowledge and was like, I'm just gonna make it happen. And I did live sound for probably about a year, and then I was able to quit because I had gotten into the studio, and I did that full time.
That's so cool. Talk about like you choosing to live life by design. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so easy to go the default route, right? But like, here you are, like, curiosity continues to lead you to like amazing opportunities, and like people see the hustle and you say like, come be a part of what we're doing, right? So then that led us to like your latest project. So I've been seeing that like you're out there working with youth, you're empowering people through your live events. What's that journey been like for you?
Well, that journey's interesting, right? Because now I'm kind of doing the same thing that, you know, like 20-year-old Ali was doing, right? But now I have a lot more life experience. And in some ways that actually makes it a little scarier, right? You know, when I'm 20, I'm like, whatever anybody says doesn't matter. And I mean, I still feel that way. But yeah, I feel like my life kind of moves in like 7-year cycles, because that's kind of like how long I did live sound. And then that's how long I did, you know, working in the studio before I was kind of like, I don't think, you know, I'm going to do this anymore. It wasn't exactly like that. You know, I burned out.
Right.
Like
sure
in a
we'll
heavy way, right?
In no time.
You know, we could talk about all the stories of the music industry forever, right? But yeah, so when I burned out, I needed to figure out why I couldn't stop doing that. And part of my story, you know, is also that I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've 13 and a half years since I've had a drink. But what I didn't realize, so the job that I got at that venue, I got it 3 weeks after I quit drinking.
Wow. Now you're in a bar every night.
in a bar that I actually used to go to and get blackout drunk at.
Talk about the universe testing you.
No, seriously, I think that was actually one of the best things that I did, because it wasn't the first time that I tried to quit drinking. And it was like, hey, if I was going to be in the music industry, like, you know, I was going to be around drugs and drinking all the time. So I can't run from it, right? I have to like confront it. But what I didn't realize, right, was that I just traded alcohol for overworking, you know, for like 11 years to run
which
from
is
myself.
easy for someone in sobriety, right? You're like one addiction to the next, and you're like, let me just go overwork myself.
For sure, but you know, success, and you know, you're achieving these things, and I'm working, you know, with huge artists, and I'm attaining the recognition and platinum records and all that stuff. That doesn't look, like me throwing a chair through the wall.
Right, right, right.
It looks
But
a
it's
little
a
different,
high.
right?
It's like a dopamine, right? That happens when success comes your way, where you're like, whoa, like I'm achieving. Like, what's that moment like? Like, do you know you're achieving success when you're achieving it? Or is something that you look back on and you're like, oh, wow, I was achieving success back then?
Well, certainly this answer will be different for everybody,
Right,
right?
right,
And I think for me, even with all of that success, I was just still chasing more
right.
because that was the thing that I needed, right? I needed more to feel worthy enough, like I was doing something. One plaque wasn't enough because that guy is 50.
Right.
I'd probably get to 50 and say 50 is not enough because that guy is 100. But really, one's not enough, or 50's not enough, or 100's not enough because I don't feel like I'm enough.
Right.
Right? So,
Which is kind of cool that it's on you to create that metric, right? Where you're like, because I'm sure to other people looking up to you, they're like, oh my gosh, like she's out there doing this, doing that. Like, we always want, how's it go? Like, the grass isn't necessarily always greener on the other side, right? Like, you still had to put in the work and you still went through the struggles that an artist go to that eventually led to burnout. So, like, what was that like for you? Like, now that you look back on it, what were like the early signs of you burning out?
oh gosh. Well, I'll get to that, but I want to say, one thing because we got to remember when we're searching like for success or whatever we're doing in our life, my goal was just to make music every day.
Right.
I just wanted to make music every day, you know? Like, and so when did it get lost that I was doing that and it wasn't enough, right? To like enjoy your life. So, I mean, the signs of burning out, right? So, there are 4 levels to burnout. The first one is actually having a good time, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh. And don't get me wrong, like I had a lot of really cool and exciting times, but you're so excited, like, I can't believe that I'm doing this. I can't believe that I'm here. And then all of a sudden, I haven't slept for more than 3 hours in a night in months. And I don't really have a lot in the tank anymore, but I keep going and people are asking me to do more and like, will you just do, 2 back-to-back 10-hour sessions? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then the second stage is where you're kind of like, oh man, this might be a little too much, but I don't want to lose my spot, right? I already told them I was going to do these things. I have to keep doing them. I can't tell them I can't do it anymore because maybe they won't let me do it anymore, right? And the third stage is, those days where you can't get out of bed, but they're not restful days. You're just exhausted. And instead of then saying, well, maybe I should rest again another day, you don't. You get back up and you do it again because one is all you can allow yourself. I used to have this thing called beach day with a friend of mine where we would take 1 day off per month. 1.
Wow.
And that seemed, we were like, we don't know if this is too much.
And that's like an American thing. Like, we love working here in this country. I lived in Paris for a while, and they take the whole month of August off, and it blew my mind. I'm like, what do you mean you don't work like, how do you survive? And they're like, we just do. It blew my mind.
Because believe it or not, we're just existing.
Right. So we're going through like these 7-year cycles, right? And so like you went through the burnout. So now like an awakening happened where like you've introduced this mindset, this theory. What is it? The Amaculent.
The Amaculent Mindset.
So talk to us more about that. What's that?
So the Amaculent Mindset is the ultimate self-healing experience, helping people become self-aware to break cycles in their life through live performance, music, speech, education, and community.
Damn, that is so cool because like here at the Milk Room, we see artists from all different walks of life, and burnout is common, but they don't call it that, and they're just like exhausted, not feeling fulfilled, continuously chasing something that isn't there. And so like in my life, I literally had to like write down what success looks like for me because I didn't know what I was chasing.
Well, right. And so I want to say, right, I've been all of this time, I'm like, I don't know what to call myself. That's why when I introduce myself, like, I'm just me, because
Right.
I'm just being me, and I'm just expressing myself and telling my story to help other people. So it's like, so I'm saying now, like, look, I'm not a healer. I'm just here to show you that you can heal, like that you can be self-aware and you can make decisions without this unconscious part of you that's trying to protect you from working, and you can make decisions that are actually more aligned with who you are. And I love, like, right, like, you had to write down, yeah, what does it really look like for me?
Because it's easy to
For
just
me.
chase like the biggest watch, and that ain't it. Like I don't
No.
wear a watch. Like I don't care what time it is. Like, but
Time's an illusion.
right, right. Like to some people, that's it. Right, like the
Right.
watch on their wrist, or with a car they drive, or like the amount of money or the hours worked. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me audit. Like, what does success look like to me? So this mindset, like what's the theory behind it? Like who is the person that you're looking to bring like the most benefit to? Is it designed for like artists? Is it for that person that's experiencing some burnout? Like who is this for ideally?
Sure. So the three versions of me that it's for is who it's for, right? So yeah, of course, creatives. I'm a creative, whether I'm an audio engineer or I'm an artist or I'm writing a book, right? So it's for creatives who are experiencing burnout or just want to understand themselves better. It's for recovering addicts, and it's for teenagers to young adults. You know, it's like they always ask you, well, what's the problem that you're solving, right? Especially for me, I wish anyone had ever asked the questions that I kind of ask in the Immaculate Mindset, right? So, what are my core values? No one ever asked me in my life what I really valued and thought about it. It's so, even if that's the one thing you take from this work, if you know what your core values are, it helps you navigate your life so much better, right? But then why, right? What's the motivation behind what you're doing, your values even? And I break that down to your ego and your purpose. So first, my core values are authenticity and growth, right? And my ego wise are proving people wrong and searching for my validation. And my purpose wise are joy and impact. So both of those things are happening for all of us at the same time, purpose and ego, right? But which one's in the lead? Because I was still being authentic and I was still growing while my motivations were searching for validation and to prove people wrong. But what did that do for me? It kept me in a lot of toxic situations because I didn't love myself enough to get out of them, right? Because I thought if I just get this outcome, then other people will love me. I will love me. It will be okay if I just get here so I can take these hits and keep going. And of course, like, joy and impact was in there as well, but it wasn't in the forefront because I wasn't having joy in a lot of these sessions. In fact, there are too many sessions that I ended up crying afterwards or during for many different reasons, right?
So this mindset can really benefit anybody. And so like when I think of like my friends that are, this buddy of mine owns a sober living house here in town, and like I meet a lot of people that are going through like the recovery process, and like when they get out the haze, something like this can really help them, like steer them towards that best version of themselves that has clarity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just about the best version of you is who you actually are,
Right.
right? You know, so
How cool is that though?
it's amazing, you know, and especially like with addicts or anyone who's beating themselves up about something that they've done in their life, understanding that that is something you've done. It's always going to be a part of your life. You can't hate it. You can't hate it. You have to love it. 100%. You have to accept, take accountability, take responsibility. There will be some people who will never be able to see you not be that person, but that doesn't mean that that's who you have to continue to be.
Wow, you're gonna end up being like the therapist for artists, because like artists have that struggle of like comparing themselves to the next person even if they don't want to, and like my friends, like I'll congratulate them on their albums, I buy their albums, and I feel like to them it's not enough. To them, like they're like, oh man, if I only had 10,000 more streams, or if I only was able to book a tour. Like there's always something that like they feel they're not doing adequately, right? When the reality is like my interpretation that like an artist is like responsible for their journey. And then like that journey they share with the world. So you break up with your partner, go write us a hit. So then when I break up with mine, I feel a certain type of way listening to it, right? Because like some of my favorite music, like my assumption is that the artist lived that or something
Sure.
inspired that.
Well, so part of the Immaculate Mindset is also I wrote an album called On One. And it is my journey from hating myself to loving myself. And for me, like, art should be alchemy, right? How did you move through it? We're here to show people how to move through it, right? And help them. And that's what the album does. Like, the first song is called Fuck Up. Everybody has felt like a fuck up in their life. If you haven't, well, you had some really, really good parents and some role models, man.
But you're good at lying to yourself.
for sure, but it started. I was literally laying on the floor, face on the floor, when that song came to my head, and I wrote it. And I didn't even know I was writing this album, right? I was just expressing myself.
So we need you guys to go through the ups and the downs of life, and it's a good thing that your mindset's going to help them like just keep it tight and stay consistent throughout their journey.
For sure, because what the Immaculate Mindset, it's about a lot of things. Like you said, it's for everyone, and everyone's like, "What's your target audience?" And I tell the three things that I told, right? But it's like it's for anyone who wants to explore and really feel all of life, because like I want to help people have capacity to go through everything. Do you know that the emotion that most people struggle with really is joy?
Wow, I believe it.
Right? People are always like, oh, well, it's the anger, the sadness. These are the bad ones, the bad ones. Well, there are no bad emotions, right? You have to feel them. They're here for us for a reason. We don't feel them for no reason, right? But everyone is so afraid to have joy because joy is going to bring you pain, right? But we're, like you said, the journey, like, yeah, we have to have the ups and the downs. Like, of course we're gonna have ups and downs. It's life. It's life. We could be on a high, and then all of a sudden something awful happens, because that's life and you never know. But how you decide to move through that and how you decide to experience that is where the change matters. Do you get stuck in that forever? Or do you just,
Right.
breathe deep, cry, be angry, be frustrated, be all of the things, and learn from it and experience from it. I just want everyone to have an experience with life.
That's so cool. So, how do people tap into this? So, you've got the album. You got the album. Is it out yet?
So there are a few songs out. The album is going to come out in July. I'm not sure what date yet.
But we've got songs out that we can go enjoy. I love it. We've got the book cooking up.
Yeah, no, so I just finished the book 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
It's crazy, dude.
What a journey you're about to. I have a feeling that you've been behind like platinum hits, but I have a feeling that when it goes, is it diamond above platinum? I think that this is going to be your diamond hit.
Oh,
I have
I
a
agree.
feeling
I
because
agree.
the universe like needs this now more than ever. Like people really need to like shake it off and get into that mindset and get an understanding of like, look, things might not always go my way, but like how I react, how my community sees me, how I get to bring value to the others in my life. And like what I love about you is that you're the artist's role model. You're like the artist's mentor. Like if I was an artist, I'd want a mentor like you, because like you'll get to share your experiences and to help me navigate through mine. And so are you doing any kind of one-on-one coaching with people yet? Like how do people tap in with you and get more of you?
Yeah, so I am doing that. It's called the Inner Compass Workbook. The album also accompanies the workbook as well. You can tap in with me by going to amaculent.com, info@amaculent.com, following me, surprise, at Amaculent, and that's AMACULENT. I do one-on-one coaching. I still struggle a little bit with the word coaching, so I like to call it more mentoring.
Right,
like
you're a
you
mentor.
said.
You're a big homie. Like you get to like enlighten people that are like aspiring to go on that route.
Yeah. I actually had a really cool thing happen to me the other day. And, the universe has been giving me actually a lot of this lately. But I got an email and it was asking me to speak at a conference in Boston in October, right? And I just thought I had filled out a form or something months ago. And I get on the call with the people, and the one girl says, I was in a workshop with you, which was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And she told me, you just told me I was enough and I could do it. And as soon as we had this conference coming up, you were the first person I thought of that I knew needed to come speak here.
That's
Like,
so dope. Like the impact is there, and sometimes we don't even see it or know it, but like you're really impacting people out there. So just like sit in that and know that and scale that. Like more people need to get turned on to like this mindset that you're helping creatives tap into, because being a creative is a really lonely world, and it's very scary, it's very frustrating, and sometimes it's very cold. And so I feel like you show up as like the light to a lot of these
thank you.
artists. So keep doing what you're doing. I needed to tap in with you before you left town. And Philly, y'all lucky. Y'all are getting your child back. Because like now you're gonna show up and like you going home. Like that's a
Going
dope
home.
feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs, as explorers, as an artist, you need to leave your city. We're talking about that. You need to leave your city, and like now your city is embracing you even tighter than it was before. So like soak it in, rock those stages, and just continue to bring impact. Cause like ever since I first met you, I was like, damn, she's like a Sherpa. She's like somebody that helps guide people, and like she's doing it too. So I'm a big fan of what you do. So I need you to keep doing it. And any way the Milk Room can support your efforts, know that you got a whole team behind you. If anytime you're trying to pull back up to LA and bring some people through our podcast, we'll be more than happy to make them feel at home. So your Philly people that are tapping into LA, let them know that they've got people out here through you now.
Oh, for sure, bro. Yeah, trust me. We gonna be back. We gonna be all over the place. We ain't
Yeah.
just tied to one city.
Right, right. So all right. So you heading back to Philly. It's summertime in Philly. Like, what does like your best weekend in Philly look like in the summertime?
Oh man, it's crazy. I haven't been home in the summer in 9 years.
All right.
So I'm very excited. I love humidity. Okay, there's like no humidity out here, so it's gonna be very humid. But what does it look like? It looks like I go watch the Phillies hopefully beat the shit out of the Mets,
There we go.
and we go grab some Wawa and just walk around the city and feel the vibes. Philly's my soul city. It's my soul city. My
I love it.
vibrations just feel best there. So
So like a weekend in Philly, where should somebody pull up to? So Wawa, you gotta have a burger there.
ooh, not a burger, but it's okay. He doesn't know.
I don't know. So what's Wawa? Put us on game.
So Wawa is a gas station convenience
Oh
store.
snap!
Look, it's like, I know it's crazy, but nah, trust me. Anybody from
like
the Northeast,
Buc-ee's
like,
or-
yeah, but like it's not as Buc-ee's is like huge, right? But Wawa's like you go in there, it has a prepared food counter. It's open 24 hours a day. They've got their own coffee brand.
So wait, so what are you getting at Wawa's?
And I mean, at Wawa, I'm definitely gonna get. You could get a lot of different things, which is why it's amazing, right? Like they might have burgers now. They might have
Alright.
expanded into that, but I'm gonna get a meatball sub.
Okay.
I might just get a bagel. I'm so excited for the good
So
bread.
it's like a bodega type of like you go for the chopped cheese. Like, okay, I get it. So
Yeah, you're not
I'm
gonna
pulling
get a
up to
Lucy
Wawa.
at Wawa, though.
Right. I love it though. So shout out to Wawa for
Yeah,
just
shout
being
out
a
to Wawa.
staple. So hitting Wawa, hitting a Phillies game, like that's a good weekend in Philadelphia. And expect humidity in the summer.
You do. You go to the Italian market. There's one of the coolest things about Philly is just so many different little pockets of different cultures and stuff all over the city. Like it's one of the best food cities in the world. Like Yeah,
And
I
you've
mean,
been
there's
gone
so
for
much
a
to
minute, so
do.
you're gonna get back and like it's gonna feel so good to be back. Like driving down the streets, you know what I'm saying, that you recognize, that you know, and pulling up to those driveways that you used to as a kid. Like I'm excited for you, and I can't wait like what this homecoming does for your brand.
Sure.
Because I could only see it, like I said, going diamond from here.
I know that's right.
I love it.
100%.
Well, AMAC, thank you very much for popping in. Anything else you want to plug? I'll make sure to include all your links in the description.
Just get ready for the workbook, the Immaculate Mindset Inner Compass. Get ready for the motherfucking album, because the album, there are no skips on this album, y'all. We're talking about real shit. We're talking about healing, but we're banging out as well. And yeah, I mean, the last thing I'd say is just know that whatever you're doing, you got this. You can handle it. You have the capacity for it. You have the capacity to do hard things. You have the capacity to live your dreams in a healthy way, and you can live them how you want with only your voice in your head and nobody else's.
And she's living proof, y'all. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. We're out. Bye.